For the longest time, Daft Pina was one of the most well-respected members in the commentary community. Unlike most commentators who would just talk about random dramas, Daft mostly focused on storytime animators. He mostly called out tracers, and his videos were incredibly well-researched. So well-researched, in fact, that whenever he makes a mistake, I think he's lying and not just making a mistake. I was a fan of him for a very long time, but after I started seeing the mistakes building up, and after watching a few videos done on him, I realized he's a bit of a snake. So I got a few comments on my last video about Daft Pina Colada, saying that Quinn Kirio was the first person to make a massive video on Daft Pina. But the thing is, that video wasn't on Daft Pina, it was about the Storytime critics as a whole.
When I discovered the YouTube animated Storytime community, I immediately discovered the community underneath these people, the channels that criticize them.
By that logic, that video was on me because I show up in it for like 4 seconds. The reason why I'm making these videos is because I've seen a few people call out Daft Pina, but most of them are pretty small. The biggest person to call out Daft Pina directly was Harley. And since Daft Pina loves to call out other people for their wrongdoings, which can range from child grooming to racism to tracing to putting their 1 million play button on the floor, I think it's about time that a decent-sized YouTuber gives Daft Pina a taste of his own medicine. So if you've seen my first video on Daft Pina, which you don't have to go back and watch because it's unimportant for this video, I want to talk a little bit more about his video on The Odd Ones Out. So a big section of the video that he later edited out was about an exposed post put on Tumblr, because of course it's on Tumblr, made by James's childhood black friend, calling out The Odd Ones Out and accusing him of being racist. In the Tumblr post, she says she's okay with people sharing her post around, but isn't okay with people talking about her post in videos, which is just so stupid. If it's public, people have every right to talk about it in their videos. So Daft decides to respect the wishes of this black girl by putting it in a video, but he gets a black girl to read it out. But she wasn't originally the first black person Daft came to read out her Tumblr post. The first black person who Daft came to read out the Tumblr post was SonnyTM.
He asked me to read lines for his latest video. What video was that, may you ask? Well, it was the Odd Ones Out video where he accuses him being racist. I wonder why he would get me to read lines in a video where he calls someone racist. It couldn't be because I'm black, could it? That'd be too much of an argument from authority. And we all know Daft is against that, so he would never willingly participate in doing it for the sake of a video, right?
Glad to know that the opinions of black people only matter to Daft when he can use them to make someone he doesn't like look bad. But why would he get a black person to read out the Tumblr post and not someone of any other race? So for those of you who don't know, in Dangle's Tumblr post, she says she can't trust white men anymore just because of her bad experience with James. So one bad experience means you can't trust an entire race of people? That's just stupid. I've been physically assaulted by a few of my black friends, and I still trust black people. This is one of the most racist things I've ever heard in my entire life, and it's also sexist as well. No wonder why it was posted to Tumblr. Apparently, in this deleted section of Daft's video, the only reason why the black girl who was reading out the Tumblr post called Dangle racist was because of SonnyTM's request.
And when I was informed of the reasoning, I told Daft I didn't think it was justified. He shrugged off my concerns and reiterated that the former friend who was calling James out was also black, therefore was correct in their statements, even though she made extremely racist remarks towards white people in her post. I had to keep telling this to Daft until he eventually added a section to his video in which he talks about her racist remark. All this to say is I really don't give a shit about saying the N or F words. I don't think someone is automatically racist for using a word.
The fact that a black man had to tell Daft that this girl was racist against white people just really shows that Daft shouldn't speak on what is and isn't racist. If you want to see SonnyTM's video, I'll link it down below in the description. But you should also check the video done by BanditOf TheEast, where he goes over Dangle's Tumblr post really well. But I think I talked about the video he did on The Odd Ones Out enough already. Now let's talk about the drama he had with AetherionArt. Now AetherionArt is an edgy, not safe for work artist. His His art is pretty lewd, and if I'm looking at it, you don't want to walk into my room without knocking first. Now, a theory I had is that after Daft Pina made his video on The Odd Ones Out accusing him of being racist, he thought to himself, wow, I really had to stretch to make that video and people still bought my bullshit. Maybe I should talk about actual edgy people so I can somewhat make an argument. Now, before we go into the Antoons and Artherion stuff, I just want to quickly say this. I understand a lot of people do not like Artherion, and even more people really don't like Antoons. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a lot of "you didn't mention X, therefore bias" arguments. Just so you guys know, I'm not trying to say, ooh, Artherion and Antoons are great people and you should excuse everything they've done. If you hate them for X, Y, and Z, cool, I won't stop ya.
Wow, that's awesome.
This video, however, is about Daft and how he lies. If I show that Daft cut context to make someone look worse than they really are, then Daft made that person look worse than they really are. We good? Good. Let's continue. So a lot of the video on Aetherion is just Daft reading out some questionable things that Artherion has said or did. It's not really a good look, but also Daft doesn't really make an argument on how it's bad. He just says, oh look, this person said this. But a lot of the things he talks about either seem to be taken out of context or he'll blatantly misread what Artherion says.
The fact that he states he wouldn't be caught dead supporting any group and to not fall for that colorful motion, which is a pretty odd statement after looking at a server as a whole.
Alright, let's read what Artherion actually said. I wouldn't be caught dead supporting any community. Okay, sounds like you're so far on point, but let's keep reading. When I can barely support myself. Don't fall for all that colorful emotional bullshit. I'm not going back to the dollar. Well, Daft, it sounds to me like he won't support groups such as the LGBT community because he can, how do I put this, barely afford to support himself. And this is by no means the only example I have of Daft clearly cutting something out of context.
To boast confidence in the state of fear seems to be a constant thing that Theron fights by himself.
By not giving the bitch a credit card, though, I think that was the smartest thing that they were doing back then.
Well, Daft didn't link this podcast, which is kind of weird because he criticizes other people for not linking their sources, but we'll get to that more later on in the video. Unfortunately for Daft, he did show the channel name and the title of the video, so I was able to seek it out to get the full context. And here's the context that Daft conveniently left out of his video.
Credit cards until 1970, all financial matters had to have a personal signature from her husband. Her husband of all people. Women. Her husband. Her fucking husband. Women's basic financial freedom was directly controlled by marital status. Women were forced to find someone because men restricted the very foundation our lives were built upon.
By not giving the bitch a credit card, though, I think that was the smartest thing that they were doing back then. We had a little more brain cells back then.
Dude.
Bitches with my money.
Fucking base.
Shitty. Fucking AetherionArt, what are you doing? You can't do this. You're gonna get canceled.
Hold on. It did not work the last time. I figured I had to push the envelope. We're getting as misogynistic as possible. We're going to the misogynistic parlor, and we're gonna have a fucking happy ending.
Let's all get canceled together. I'm sing kumbaya and hold hands.
A good can of spam.
So yeah, with the added context, it's pretty clear that Artherion was making a joke and not actually making a statement about women not having credit cards. Now what's really funny about this out of context podcast clip that Daft didn't link, the channel is called SHREDDIT, not the r/podcast as Daft likes to call them.
During one of the r/videos...
Oh no wait, he didn't even call them that. He said during one of the r/videos, so this makes it even harder for people to find out who they are. And when one of their members reached out to Daft as to why he didn't link them, all Daft said was, oh, well, I put your name in the video, so if people really wanted to know who you were, they could just seek you out. Which is funny because Daft often criticizes people for not linking other people.
2018, there are over 20 videos so far in which he did not credit the artist.
In fact, when I forgot to link someone said to me, Jar, I wish you were more like Daft, who links everything he uses. So according to a lot of people, and Daft himself, he's really good when it comes to linking his sources. So why didn't he link this? Well, it's so people didn't know the context to the out-of-context clip he showed. Like Daft, sometimes one of my editors will briefly show some fan art in one of my videos, and the creator of that fan art will reach out to me and ask me to link their fan art. Do you know what I do? I just link it.
Also, if I ever forget to properly credit someone in the description of my videos, just tell me. Like, it's not that hard to change it.
Now, shortly after Daft's video on Arthurion came out, Arthurion responded with a tweet where he said that while he did say the dreaded N-word in F-slurs, he's actually a gay black man. Needless to say, this claim was met with quite a bit of skepticism.
People have also brought up the fact that it would appear that AetherionArt has never shown their face, and as such they could rely on being a person of color to defend themselves.
But he also said that it was too bad that him or Beta never reached out once for an interview. Later, Beta, and if you don't know who Beta is, they were in the Arthurion video with Daft, tweeted out this response to Arthurion.
Don't owe you shit, or need to reach out to you when there's clear evidence of you being homophobic, transphobic, racist, and sexist.
Which is, pretty stupid, considering that Daft has interviewed people like Antoons, Cosmodor, John Bob, you know, people who are on the same level, if not much, much worse than Arthurion. And before you say, oh come on Jar, this video is about Daft, why are you reading a tweet from Beta Inferno? Well, the thing is, Daft retweeted this. So as far as I'm concerned, he agrees with what they say. Now I want to quickly give a big thank you to Advil, because without his help, I wouldn't have gotten a lot of this information, and he's also editing this section of the video. Advil, if you want to come in here real quick and add your own 2 cents, well, now is the time to do so.
Hey, what's up? It's Advil. First thing, if you follow me on Twitter, which you should, you will know that I am evaporating and dying at an increasing rapid rate, so that's why it's not face cam. Since my Daft video came out, he has banned me from his Discord server and blocked me on Twitter, and make of that what you will. I just wanted to say, mostly, thank you, Jar, for letting me edit and be in your video. It means a lot. That's really it, so back to the video. Oh yeah, also subscribe to me, asshole.
So like I said earlier in the video, if you have a problem with any of Antoons' comics or offensive jokes, okay, I'm not here to change your mind about that. I'm only here to point out where Daft lied or manipulated the situation. So one thing Daft Peanut told me in a call was that he wasn't actually calling Antoons racist. He was just saying that Antoons could be perceived as racist through his actions. Of course, I didn't record the call, but I do have this comment right here that kind of proves that this conversation did happen. I love that in my Antoons video, never once did I say that Daft called Antoons racist, but he assumes I did, saying that I misunderstood his video. But here's the thing, the title of the video is literally Racist Tracer, and Daft says in the video, Racist Tracer.
Racist Tracer.
Daft, either you're really dumb, not understanding that if you put in the title of your video, Racist Tracer, that people will assume that this person is a racist because you also show how they trace, or you're just trying to manipulate people into thinking he's racist without directly calling him racist, even though you technically did. And considering what I've shown in this video and the last one, I'm gonna go with the former. Now I got this information from Advil's video on Daft Peanut, but apparently Daft Peanut did a 6-hour-long interview with Antoons. But even though Antoons and Arthurion are basically on the same level, for some reason he didn't give him an interview, but whatever. But Daft Peanut only used 6 minutes of the interview in his own video, and he apparently promised Antoons he would either give him the fully recorded interview, or upload it to his second channel, which he never did. So I want you all to tweet at Daft to send out the full interview. And he needs to do this with every video, so we know he's not cutting out context. And if Daft tries to pretend like he lost the interview, he's full of shit, don't believe him. But if Daft only used 6 minutes of a 6-hour-long interview, he must have really picked the most juicy and damning parts to take out of context. Anyways, let's play a clip from Daft's interview with Antoons.
I would say They're friends as in we chat. We have like these chats, and we communicate with each other in those chats. But none of the personal information is shared, like where we live. Well, I mean, they obviously know. Everybody knows where I am and what's my full name and stuff. So, but
they not trust you with at least their first name?
They don't trust anyone actually. So they don't. I think it's not safe to release in the U.S. I think it's not. I think safe to release this sort of information online.
Release.
Sorry.
Well, you say you're sort of friends with them.
Yeah.
But they don't trust you with at least their first name in private conversation.
Yeah. I think that just goes to even between among themselves, like all the people on Twitter in this community, they don't really know each other's names. It's not just me, it's like normal.
It's not normal.
Wow, really? That's the best you could do? Daft, it is normal. You didn't know my name, or my face, or really that much about me, and I considered you to be a friend. There are plenty of YouTubers and content creators who don't show their face, or tell people what their names are. Some people just really care about their anonymity.
As to trust someone you've never seen, let alone spoken to, puts into question the motives of that person.
Or maybe there are certain people out there who will be willing to physically assault them, dox them, try to swat them, and do a lot of other things to them. So they try to stay as anonymous as possible.
Anton tried to pick on the artist Puppy-chan for making a comic about a trans character. After a small bit of arguing, Anton asks if the artist was biologically male based on this tweet, questioning the genitals of a minor who created the comic?
Whoa now, Daft, slow down there. Let's read what Antoons actually said. LGBT community and Puppy-chan. The audacity to question biology. And underneath that, he shows a tweet from someone that ends off with, biological males cannot have periods. It is basic biology. Daft Pina's ability to lie about people without technically lying about them really astounds me. Now, is Antoons asking about their genitals? Technically. But he's not asking to see them or asking in a creepy way or anything like that. He's just asking if they're trans. Basically, what he's saying is, hey, how can you have your period? I thought you were trans.
But I will say, make it clear, don't ask anyone about the genitals. I didn't think I had to, say that specifically.
Yeah, I don't think you needed to say that specifically either. And that's because you didn't need to say that specifically.
You didn't need to post that.
You chose those words yourself. You knew that if you worded it like this, that some people would come to the conclusion that he was a predator. So many people came to the wrong conclusion about Antoons because of you. Several people spread around the false narrative you created. The fact that you got away with this for so long and that so many YouTubers spread around this bullshit narrative you created without doing proper research is just disgusting. Any commentator who also did a video on Antoons and repeated what Daft said here really should leave a pinned comment underneath their videos clearing up this misinformation. Daft knows what he's doing, so please don't let him try to claim ignorance on this point. I don't care if you think Antoons is the worst person on the entire internet. What Daft did here was absolutely wrong. Now, a lot of people complain, saying things like, oh my god, I can't believe Antoons is still talking about this. Why can't he just grow up and move on from this situation? Well, the thing is, he did try to move on. He contacted Puppy-chan and made this very nice art piece to show that the beef was over between the two of them. And what did Daft do? Well, he showed a bunch of out-of-context screenshots that made it look like Antoons was planning to backstab Puppy-chan. But the thing is, he wasn't. He was talking like that at first, but if you continue to read the conversation, he said that peace was a better outcome. You can see the full context in Antoons' video about his drama. And by the way, Daft's tweet got thousands of likes, so this misinformation spread far and wide. Now you could make the argument that Daft just got these screenshots from someone else and that person didn't give Daft the full context. But the thing is, Antoons reached out to Daft to explain the full context to him, and Daft just ignored it. Now, another point I forgot to make in my first video about Daft Pina is that he said in his video covering J-Animation's Bulimia music video that he wasn't going to take the "why I don't have a face reveal" video down.
However, do I regret making that Jaden face reveal video? Well, partially. And here's a few reasons why. The video could have been edited down between 20 to 25 minutes. One shot is completely out of focus. I was pretty mean-spirited all the time in the video. Thanks for helping me co-write it, Neo Jesus.
It was your idea to make the video in the first place.
Last but not least, there were very little jokes. Sad.
I let people take pictures, but I really wish I didn't. It was the lowest I've ever felt in my life. So much fun. Oh, it's so much fun. Oh my god.
However, I won't take down that video.
And yes, he did eventually go back on this and take it down, and I already mentioned that part, but in that video he said,
wait, why would someone talk about a video that they made in the past and bring new light on it? Oh, that's right. For money.
But he just didn't hear himself! What a fucking hypocrite!
Man, I'm actually naked as fuck right now.
Now, you guys might have also heard of the Cosmodor situation that Daft and Pondersprocket covered. But apparently there was some guy named Dylan who Daft was asking anonymously for information on Cosmodor, and Dylan was a pretty big fan of Cosmodor, and it really shocked him that Cosmodor did something like this, and he was like, not in the best headspace, but Daft told him, if you don't give me the information, you will be aiding the groomer. Eventually he did give Daft the info because he just wanted Daft to leave him alone, and, you know, Daft uploaded his video and Dylan made a bunch of angry tweets, a lot of high emotions at the time. Daft saw those and made a comment talking shit about him, which, okay, man. Admittedly, out of all my points, this is the main one you should take with a grain of salt because I don't know the full story about this one, but a few people mentioned it to me. Now, to end this video off, and trust me, this is not like the last point I have tons of others. I could easily make a part 3 on Daft, but I'm so bored of talking about him already. If I do make a part 3, it won't be out for quite a while. I'm just so exhausted at this point. But back to AetherionArt. Instead of interviewing Arthurion, he interviewed someone that Arthurion followed on Twitter, getting him to talk a bunch of shit about Arthurion and turn against him, and dude, that is not okay. That is not fucking cool. If you have a problem with someone, do a video on them, and if someone comes across it who liked that person, and they decide they don't like him anymore, that's fine. But seeking out people to make them turn against him? That's not okay. That, like, goes against the commentary code or something. And I think Daft was also trying to imply to people that they should go to the people who Arthurion follows so they can get them to turn against him. At the start of my first video on Daft Pina, I said I was worried about the guy, and I am worried about him. I'm worried about what he did, what he's been doing, and what he'll do in the future. Hopefully if he ever tries to pull this bullshit ever again, the 2 videos I made will at least make people skeptical about claims he has in the future.